The mighty one thing that instantly turns. On 99% of women, dark female psychology exposed. Stoicism. What if I told you that the most attractive quality you could develop has nothing to do with your looks, your wealth, or even your charm? What if the secret to genuine magnetism was discovered? Over 2,000 years, ago by ancient philosophers who faced wars, political upheaval, and personal tragedy, yet remained unshakably confident. I'm about to reveal the Stoic principles that built some of history's most compelling figures. From Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, to modern leaders who command respect without saying a word. But here's what most people get wrong about confidence. They think it's about being the loudest person in the room, or having all the answers, or never showing vulnerability. The Stoics knew better. True confidence, the kind that draws people to you naturally, comes from something much deeper. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 4 pillars of Stoic confidence that will transform not just your relationships, but how you show up in every area of your life. And I'll give you practical exercises you can start using today. But first, let me tell you about Marcus. Part 1, the foundation, understanding true confidence. Picture this. It's 161 AD. Marcus Aurelius becomes Emperor of Rome, the most powerful position in the known world. He's facing plague, war, and political enemies. Yet his personal writings reveal something remarkable. He wasn't concerned with impressing others or appearing powerful. Instead, he wrote how much trouble he avoids, who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does. This is our first clue to genuine confidence. It's internal, not external. Now, before we dive deeper, I want you to think about the most confident person you know personally. Got someone in mind? I bet they have these 3 qualities. Pause for effect. We'll come back to this in a moment, but first, let me destroy a myth that's probably sabotaging your confidence right now. The confidence myth. Most people think confidence means never feeling nervous, always having something clever to say, being the center of attention, never showing weakness. The Stoics would laugh at this. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about his fears and doubts. Seneca admitted to anxiety. Epictetus, who was literally enslaved, understood powerlessness better than anyone. Yet these men developed unshakable inner strength. How? They understood what Epictetus called the fundamental principle of human flourishing. Some things are within our control. Others are not within our control. Our thoughts and judgments, our actions and responses, our values and character, how we treat others. Outside our control, what others think of us, the outcome of our efforts, other people's responses, external circumstances. Let me get personal for a moment. 3 years ago, I was that guy who tried to impress everyone. I'd rehearse conversations, worry about every social interaction, and felt devastated when someone didn't respond the way I wanted. Then I discovered this Stoic principle and everything changed. Instead of trying to control others' reactions, I focused on being genuinely myself. The paradox? People started finding me more interesting, not less. This is what the Stoics understood. When you stop needing others' approval, you become naturally more appealing. But how do you actually build this internal confidence? That brings us to the 4 pillars. Part 2, the 4 pillars of Stoic confidence. Pillar 1, self-knowledge. The oracle at Delphi proclaimed, "Know thyself," and the Stoics took this seriously. You can't be confident in who you are if you don't know who you are. Here's your first exercise. The Stoic identity. Audit. Pause this video and grab a pen. Write down 3 values you'd never compromise on. 2 strengths you're genuinely proud of. 1 weakness you're actively working on. Don't overthink it. The goal isn't perfection, it's honesty. Seneca, Rome's wealthiest man, regularly practiced poverty to understand his relationship with material things. He'd sleep on the floor, eat simple food, wear basic clothes. Why? Because he wanted to know, what kind of person am I when I'm stripped of external advantages? This isn't about becoming ascetic. It's about becoming unshakable. When you know your core self, external circumstances can't destabilize you. In relationships, this translates to not losing yourself. trying to become what you think someone else wants. Authentic confidence says, "This is who I am, and I'm comfortable with that person." Pillar 2. Emotional regulation. Picture this common situation. You're talking to someone you're attracted to, and they make a comment that could be interpreted as rejection or disinterest. The insecure response. Internal panic, overthinking, desperate attempts to fix the situation. The Stoic response. Pause, breathe, and remember that their comment might have nothing to do with you. Epictetus taught a simple but powerful technique. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Here's the 3-step process. 1. Pause. Before reacting, take a breath. 2. Perspective. Ask, what story am I telling myself about this? 3. Choose. Respond from your values, not your emotions. Modern neuroscience confirms what Stoics knew. There's a gap between stimulus and response. That gap is where your power lies. Research shows that people who can regulate their emotions are perceived as more attractive, trustworthy, and leadership material. Try this tomorrow. When someone says something that triggers you, before responding, silently count to 3 and ask yourself, what would my wisest self do here? Pillar 3. Virtue-based actions. The Stoics believed in 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. But here's what's fascinating. They didn't practice these virtues to impress others. They practiced them because virtue is its own reward. This creates what I call the virtue paradox. The less you try to impress others with your good qualities, the more impressive you become. Wisdom. Admitting when you don't know something instead of pretending. Justice. Standing up for someone who's being treated unfairly, even when it's uncomfortable. Courage. Having difficult but necessary conversations. Self-discipline. Keeping commitments to yourself and others. When Marcus Aurelius discovered his most trusted general was planning a revolt, he had every legal right to have him executed. Instead, he invited the general to dinner, treated him with respect, and won back his loyalty through virtue rather than force. This is confidence in action, secure, enough in your principles that you don't need to prove your power through dominance. Pillar 4. Present moment awareness. Here's something I bet you've never noticed. Confident people are present. They're not in their heads worrying about what to say next or replaying past conversations. The Stoics called this prososche, continuous attention to the present moment. Most social anxiety comes from 2 places. Regret about the past. I can't believe I said that. Worry about the future. What if they don't like me? But confidence exists only in the present moment. Here's a Stoic technique for instant presence. The 5-4-3-2-1 method. 5 things you can see. 4 things you can touch. 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. 1 thing you can taste. This grounds you immediately in the present moment, where your natural confidence lives. But knowing these principles isn't enough. Let me show you how to apply them in real-world relationship situations. Part 3. Stoic confidence in relationships. Scenario 1. First conversations. The situation. You're meeting someone new and your mind goes blank. You start worrying about being interesting enough. The non-Stoic response, trying to impress with stories, achievements, or humor. Result? You seem try-hard and inauthentic. The Stoic response. Remember. Pillar 1. Self-knowledge. You already are enough. Focus on being genuinely curious about the other person. Instead of thinking, what can I say to impress them? Ask, what can I learn about this person? Try these Stoic conversation starters. What's been the most interesting part of your week? What's something you're genuinely excited about right now? What's a belief you used to have that you've changed your mind about? Research shows people rate conversations as more enjoyable when they talk about themselves. But here's the Stoic insight. By being genuinely interested in others, you naturally become more interesting yourself. Scenario 2. Handling rejection or criticism. The situation. Someone you're interested in doesn't reciprocate, or someone criticizes you publicly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself." This doesn't mean being indifferent to feedback. It means not letting others' opinions define your self-worth. Accept what happened without resistance. 2. Learn whatever lessons are available. 3. Let go of what you cannot control. 4. Focus on your next right action. I once had someone tell me directly that they found my personality too intense. Old me would have been devastated and tried to change everything about myself. Stoic me thought, that's valuable information. Some people will find my intensity off-putting. Others will find it attractive. I'd rather attract the right people, authentically, than the wrong people artificially. 6 months later, I met someone who said my intensity was exactly what drew them to me. Scenario 3. Conflict and difficult conversations. The situation. You need to have a difficult conversation, setting a boundary, addressing a problem, or expressing disagreement. Most people avoid these conversations because they're afraid of making the other person angry, being disliked, causing conflict. But remember Pillar 3, virtue-based actions. Sometimes the virtuous thing requires courage. Sometimes justice demands difficult conversations. 1. Start with your intention. I care about our relationship, which is why I want to address this. 2. Own your experience. When X happens, I feel Y. 3. Focus on behavior, not character. I'd like us to find a way to. 4. Stay open to their perspective. Help me understand your viewpoint. Instead of, you never listen to me and you're so selfish. Try, I value our conversations, and I've noticed I feel unheard sometimes. Can we figure out a way for both of us to feel listened to? This approach demonstrates all 4 pillars. Self-knowledge. You know your values and needs. Emotional regulation. You're not attacking from anger. Virtue-based action. You're being honest and fair. Present moment awareness. You're dealing with what is, not what you wish it were. Part 4. Daily practices for Stoic confidence. Morning practice, the Stoic preparation. Before you start your day, ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? How do I want to show up as a person? What's one way I can practice virtue today? This isn't about controlling outcomes, it's about choosing your character. Evening practice, the Stoic review. Based on Seneca's practice, each evening ask, what did I do well today? What could I improve? How did I handle challenges? What am I grateful for? This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. The goal is awareness, not self-criticism. Weekly practice, the confidence challenge. Each week, do one thing that requires courage. Have a conversation you've been avoiding. Try something new that might not work. Express an opinion you usually keep to yourself. Help someone without expecting anything back. Small acts of courage compound into unshakable confidence. Every time you act despite fear, you prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes. Let's bring this full circle. Remember that person I asked you to think about at the beginning. The most confident person you know. I bet they embody these Stoic principles without even knowing it. They know who they are and are comfortable with it. They don't get thrown off by others' reactions. They act from their values, not their fears. They're present and engaged. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more authentically yourself. The Stoics understood that confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being genuine, resilient, and focused on what matters. Here's what I want you to do right now. Subscribe if this resonated with you. We dive deep into practical philosophy every week. Choose one pillar to focus on this week. Comment below and tell me, what's one Stoic principle you're going to try? I read every comment and will respond with personalized advice. Share this with someone who could benefit from more genuine confidence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and round it the seething waters are laid to rest." That's the confidence I want for you. Not the kind that needs external validation, but the kind that remains steady no matter what storms come. You have everything you need inside you right now. The Stoics simply showed us how to access it. Next week, we're diving into Stoic communication. How to speak so people actually listen. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Until then, remember, you're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be authentic. And that's more than enough. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.